Hey, my friends of the Pine School, Stuart, Florida. This is your friend Jeff Yalden. How are you? Well, I've heard the news about the loss of one of our students, Asher Hendel. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the name. I don't know. I spoke to Gary Sullivan, and I've been getting some messages about the loss last night. I wanted to stop in and I want to give you kind of a two-part message. And the first part, most importantly, is I want to send you my prayers and my thoughts, and I wish I can do whatever I could to ease this pain and give you a hug and say it's going to be okay, and maybe try and answer some questions, but then again, sometimes questions will never be answered. This is a very sad and devastating time. I remember in the first place coming down to you in August when we dealt with the loss of one of our seniors. I think the time right now is that we need to embrace one another. And I think one of the things that we can do is learn to be more kind and accepting and understanding that life is hard and people have challenges and go through tough times, absolutely. And I think right now that we all need to come together and don't be afraid to give hugs to the staff. You're such a small school. Teachers are hurting. Administration is hurting. You guys are hurting. Now the family and the community are just hurting. And everyone's wondering why. What can we do? Well, that leads me to the second part. I want to put the responsibility on all of us to do 5 things. Number 1, to be able to identify that somebody may be hurting. You can go to my website, jeffyalden.com, and read some of my blogs on mental health and teen depression, teen suicide. Well, there's symptoms, and the symptoms for depression and suicide are often very similar. You know, sometimes a child doesn't want to be a burden anymore. A child just wants to give up. A child may have moved from another school to this school, which is the case I know for Asher. So we're able to identify some issues that might lead someone to pain in their heart. When we identified, I think one of the things is now we have to question that person. You know, when you see someone that's hurting or not feeling good, I think we should have the courage to never be afraid to ask the questions such as, you know, do you ever wish that sometimes you can just go to bed and never wake up? You know, and I think when you give your heart to the heart of somebody else, you're going to get some truth. It takes time, but if we're going to question someone, we're going to question them because we care and we're going to give them that time. And so after you question the person, then you need to help persuade them to maybe talk to somebody that is a lot more professional than us. And as a student, maybe, you know, you go to a parent, you go to your counselor, you go to a teacher, or you encourage them to, visit with someone. And that's the right thing to do. Don't ever think that you can handle it. That's why professionals do what they do. And you need to, number 5 is be able to refer them. And one of the best things that you can do is you can be present and walk them down to your counselor. You can make a phone call for them and let them know that you want to help them. So when I say the responsibility is on anybody, what I'm trying to say is we can all do it. And when we all engage in our friends that could be hurting and they're challenged and they're looking for meaning in life and they're looking for direction, I think when we all take responsibility and we can be compassionate and kind, then we can help each other. And then we can take care of those answers because we won't have to deal with the questions. Suicide is a permanent action to something that is very temporary. And right now in high school, the issues that you're faced with, the expectations, this is all temporary. Yeah, life is hard. It's not easy. I know that. And we think, well, suicide will erase the pain. Suicide doesn't erase the pain. all it does is transfers the pain from one person to another. And now that person needs to spend the rest of their life thinking, I could have done something to help. I wish I was there. And that person now has to have the courage to go and get help and counseling. And so what I want to ask each and every one of you today and tomorrow and during the next couple of days where we have to go through the grieving process, and even afterwards, I want to invite all of you. Open your heart. Lose your ego. And if you have people in your life that you trust and you respect and whose opinions you value, make sure you go to them. And I want each and every one of you to be the person that somebody knows if they're hurting, that they can go to you, and that you're going to be able to support them and encourage them, and you're going to do the right thing and help them and bring them to somebody who's a professional. We can make a difference. And lastly, 90% of those that choose to take their life, they're dealing with some type of mental disorder. It could be depression. So if you're hurting in your heart, remember what I said, don't ever be afraid to talk to somebody. You know, simple things. But suicide is never the answer. But we have to deal with the loss of Asher Hendel now, and we need to really come together for the teachers, for the staff, for the community, for the parents, for the family. But more so, we need to come together for each other. I appreciate you guys, and I remember my visit, and it was so awesome. If I can do anything, you know where I'm at. I need you guys to smile. I need you guys to know that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Thanks for listening. Hugs to you all.